Live from KSAT12, the news at noon starts right now.
A major moment in U.S. history scheduled to unfold today in a Manhattan courtroom. Former President Donald Trump due to surrender to face criminal charges stemming from 2016 hush money payments to a porn star.
The booking and arraignment are likely to be relatively brief as Trump learns the exact charges against him and enters his plea. He is expected to enter a plea of not guilty.
President Trump then scheduled to return to his Florida home, Mar-a-Lago, later on tonight, and he will be holding a rally there and speaking for the first time. We are standing by for a special report from ABC News. We're going to bring that to you shortly, but we are going to continue with our newscast now.
But before we go to Justin, you're looking live at Trump Tower. You can see those black SUVs lined up. Those are the support group, and those are members of the Secret Service waiting on the former president to leave Trump Tower and take that 4-mile ride down to the courthouse. And of course, as Ursula just said, when he does that, we will join ABC. They're going to carry that for you live. But in the meantime.
Yeah, in the meantime, another hot day, and we are on standby from serious rain, perhaps.
Yeah, we are forecasting some good rain chances, as we've been talking about late in the week. That still stands. What we're going to watch for today are a couple storms, especially north of us. That's where a lot of the activity will be, and then we'll have a chance for some storms ourselves coming up tomorrow morning as the front comes through. So I'm showing you the big picture here. There's not a lot going on yet. You see the snow that's associated with this system up across parts of North Dakota, but a severe thunderstorm watch box for the Chicago area. Storms are starting to get going there. The Storm Prediction Center has a large area, though, outlined for the risk of severe weather. That includes parts of Iowa, down through Missouri, into Arkansas, and even northeast Texas. Those are areas that likely will see a severe thunderstorm outbreak later today. Could even see some tornadoes. And these are places that certainly do not need it. They just got hit with severe weather less than a week ago. But here we go again. And the tail end of that does sink down into San Antonio. Where on the tail end of things, there is a possibility of a stray strong storm coming up tomorrow morning as the front comes through. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of warmth. 80 degrees, mostly cloudy. Dew point is high at 67, and we've got gusty winds out of the south-southeast. Our KSAT 12-hour forecast, 92 this afternoon, then into the upper 80s at 7 o'clock, 86 at 8 p.m., and 78 at 11 o'clock. Rain chances, again, go up just a little bit tomorrow morning, but then they really jump up as we get into Thursday and Friday. We'll talk more about that and tell you how much rainfall we could expect coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Justin. There were no working utilities and no one was living there yet, but somehow a mobile home has gone down in flames.
In fact, it happened while it was still on the lot of a mobile home dealer. As Katrina Weber reports, that fire turned the building into just a pile of ashes.
Wisps of smoke and charred wood tell a story of a battle lost. Fire got the best of this mobile home overnight, despite the efforts of San Antonio firefighters. When they were called to Titan Factory Direct near Loop 410 and Marbach Road, the flames and smoke on the grounds of this mobile home manufacturing business already had gotten a head start. Fire had swallowed up one side of a double wide around 1 this morning, but the fire also spread to the other side, causing major damage. One worker told me the timing for this fire couldn't have been worse. He says this home had just been sold and was scheduled for delivery to its new owners today. Instead, it is now the subject of an investigation. The home, which was in sections at the time, had no utilities hooked up to it, so investigators weren't able to say right away what caused the fire. Firefighters say they found no one here and no one was hurt. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
It is day 6 of the Jimmy Tran capital murder trial, and testimony this morning focusing on data collected from Tran's phone, specifically where he was when the murder took place. Tran accused of the 2019 murder and robbery of Andres Salinas behind a northeast side Wingstop. An SAPD digital forensic unit detective spoke about how he extracted the text messages, photos, and phone calls from Tran's phone. This is important because it shows the conversations that he was having the day that Salinas was murdered. It also shows Tran's location at the time of the murder. Coming up later this afternoon, more on the testimony and how damaging this could be to the defense.
This noon, police still searching for a woman who stabbed another person overnight on the west side. It happened just before 11 last night near the 800 block of South Nueces near Guadalupe Street. Witnesses told police the two women were fighting in the street when one stabbed the other. The victim was taken to the hospital.
New details this noon in a separate stabbing investigation. This one on the west side. Officers now tell us the suspect was arrested right at the scene. She was booked for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. San Antonio police say their investigation started before 10 p.m. last night in the 8100 block of Golden Harvest. That's near Loop 410 and Calabria Road. SAPD says a woman stabbed a man in the back and cut his arm a few times. That man taken to University Hospital. He is expected to be okay.
An important wake-up call for parents and students. A letter went home from Eisenhower Middle School after a student reported a man tricked her into getting into his car, and then he asked her for a sexual favor. According to the principal's letter, the student said she was walking to school on Monday morning, and that's when a man inside a white four-door sedan pulled up and asked her to get in. At first, she refused. She refused several times, but he was persistent and said he knew one of her family members. The student entered the vehicle on Patricia Drive near the Churchill High School baseball fields. And while in the car, the man asked the girl for a sexual favor. She refused and dropped her off at school. The principal said the girl was safe but shaken up. The incident was reported to NEISD police and San Antonio police. So the principal gave out the following advice to parents for their kids. Never walk alone. Stay with someone when going to and from school. If approached by a stranger or suspicious person, walk away and tell an adult. Students who have a problem walking home are asked to come back to school so staff can call a parent or guardian and know where to go or who to call for help.
Every day, 600 people need an organ donation in South Texas. It is a daunting task to locate all those people, but the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center is finding ways to get the word to donors out this month. Max Massey with what is planned for National Donate Life Month and what your donation will mean to someone and to our community.
It's a month to raise awareness around organ, eye, and tissue donation. And we also take time to honor those who have given the gift of life.
Ashley Frolick with the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center tells me that every year there are so many inspirational stories revolved around these life-saving donations.
To register as an organ, eye, and tissue donor, you can do that on donatelifetexas.org. The other thing, if you want to be more involved, is we will have events through the week to honor loved ones, to honor donors.
And right outside the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center, there is a garden. Take a look. Now, this garden honoring those whose donations have helped save countless lives.
There's always a need for tissue donation. One donor can help up to 75 people, and they can help them in a multitude of ways because there's so much that you can donate. So, for example, a heart valve donation can actually save someone's life if they have a heart defect. Skin can also be used for wound care, like burns and traumatic wounds as well.
And the need doesn't stop at organ donations. The current blood levels in our area, it's only at a 2-day supply. So if you can donate, come on in and help save lives.
We do need blood donations every day. We need 600 donations a day in order to meet the need in our South Texas area. And this month we are actually giving our Fiesta Medal. We love our donors so much, so we went a little extra this year, and we have this Fiesta Medal that we will be giving donors when they come donate throughout the month.
All right, we're going to get you back to New York City. You can see
himself, not his lawyers in court, that he will speak himself in court. The indictment still sealed, but the former president and the public set to learn just a short time from now what charges the former president will face. Sources have already told ABC News, as we've been reporting for several days here, that he'll face more than 24 separate charges, all stemming from that investigation into the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels, all for her to keep quiet in the crucial final weeks before the 2016 presidential election. The payment, as you likely know, was made by his then lawyer, his fixer, his one-time friend, Michael Cohen, who, of course, was convicted and served prison time for this. Michael Cohen now a central witness in this case. Cohen knows that he's become a target of Trump and his supporters, but he has repeatedly said that there will be evidence to back up everything he has told prosecutors in this case. Again, you're looking live. Pictures are cameras trained outside Trump Tower. Obviously, you see movement there, the Secret Service, the NYPD, for this 4-mile trip down to Lower Manhattan. Police have, of course, locked down security around Trump Tower and the courthouse. where we have seen a small number of Trump supporters gathered. In fact, so far, our reporters have noted often the number of reporters actually outnumbering those who have gathered. And so now we watch the motorcade on the move here in Manhattan. Lindsay Davis outside Trump Tower. Lindsay, what have you seen?
David, if you blinked, you would have missed his departure. He gave a brief wave to the crowd and then got right into that motorcade. I think that a lot of people who are gathered here along Fifth Avenue are not even aware that he has already departed the building, because people are still holding up cameras trying to perhaps get a glimpse of the former president. Fifth Avenue, as you know, has long been a coveted address with high-end buildings, and today, clearly, that's not the draw. We have maybe 10 people deep just on the other side of the camera here lining Fifth Avenue. Many of the people here, tourists. It is remarkably peaceful, very quiet here, people just watching. I started kind of just asking as I was walking down Fifth Avenue, you know, why are you here? Are you a Trump supporter? The majority of the people said they're not Trump supporters, some giving some choice words explaining that they were anti-Trump. There was a little girl, 10 years old, who said that he's a mean man who's done bad things, and she wanted to see him go to jail today. But again, because it's an international crowd, it's interesting. A lot of the people seem to really not have a strong opinion about it. You have a handful of people maybe who have signs in support of Trump, but even they are not protesting in any way. Certainly a historic day for Americans. The native New Yorker who grew up here and found a lot of fame and prominence here in New York City, returning here to what was once his primary residence, but for this day, of course, to face the judge and be fingerprinted. But interestingly, David, you know, as you know, he had urged his supporters to protest, suggesting that there might be potential death and destruction. We are seeing none of that. Mayor Adams, of course, warned people that New York City stands at the ready and said to any potential rabble-rousers to behave. It seems that people are doing just that, David.
Lindsay Davis outside Trump Tower, and as Lindsay aptly put it, if you blinked, you missed it. The former president leaving Trump Tower very quickly, getting into the motorcade. Again, the Secret Service assisting, but the NYPD taking the lead here today as they make that 4-mile trip now down to Lower Manhattan and to criminal court. Obviously, it will not take nearly as long as it would take on a typical day in Manhattan. Traffic has been cleared away. So have pedestrians in many parts of New York to make this trip as efficient as possible for the former president in making his way to Lower Manhattan. We are getting new reporting this morning on what will play out this afternoon here in New York. Our senior investigative reporter, Aaron Kotursky, live outside the courthouse. Aaron, take us through what we know so far, what the American people will witness, what we won't see, and how this arraignment will unfold here.
David, former President Trump is on his way here to surrender as the defendant in the people of the state of New York against Donald J. Trump. He's going to arrive here at the criminal courthouse through a side entrance that has already been blocked off in anticipation of his arrival. All of the cars, including the district attorney's vehicle, have been cleared from the block so the president can come in unencumbered. He's immediately going to be taken inside to the district attorney's office for processing, where he will be formally placed under arrest and processed and booked as a criminal defendant. A short time later, he will be taken to the 15th floor to a courtroom where he will be arraigned. We're told he's going to use a special elevator ordinarily reserved for the judges, and that will put him right at the entrance to the courtroom, so he may only be in the hallway a few minutes, just mere steps. Once inside, he will be seated in the well of the courtroom, and that is something the American people have never seen. A former occupant of the Oval Office seated at the defense table of a criminal courtroom, surrounded by his lawyers, Susan Necklace and Todd Blanche, a former federal prosecutor who was recently added to the defense team. There will be no television cameras inside. The judge wouldn't allow it. But, David, he is allowing a number of photographers to snap pictures for a few minutes before the arraignment begins. So we will undoubtedly see the former president seated there. And I'm curious about some of these dynamics. Ordinarily, a president of the United States is the most important person in the room. Everybody stands in honor of his arrival. Here, he will have to stand when Judge Juan Merchan comes on the bench to preside over his arraignment, David.
An extraordinary scene Eric Natursky describes that will unfold in Lower Manhattan just moments from now. For those of you joining us, this is ABC News live coverage of what is history in the making. Never before have we seen a president, former or current, criminally charged on the trip to Lower Manhattan to criminal court to face those charges. He'll be arraigned moments from now. Of course, you're looking at the East River. The FDR is the route taken by the NYPD and the Secret Service. There have been some questions earlier in the day. Would it be Fifth Avenue, which is a straight trip right down to Lower Manhattan, the 4-mile trip, or would they take him over to the FDR? And of course, we all know that this is, before Mar-a-Lago became his home, New York City was the home of Donald Trump for many, many decades, born, raised here. This is all very familiar territory, and you can only imagine a bit surreal for him, even for someone who has faced multiple tests in decades as a businessman and then as the president of the United States. Legal tests along the way, but never has he faced a test like this one here that begins today. Criminal charges to be arraigned for those charges just moments from now. I want to bring in John Santucci, who has reported on Donald Trump for many years for us. John, you were the one reporting that he was coming down the elevator at Trump Tower. Any more color on the mood of the former president and the Trump team as they now head to Lower Manhattan to defend the former president?
A little bit, David, and I have to be honest, things don't usually shock me, but it looks like Donald Trump is actually in this vehicle by himself. He's with his agents, but usually Donald Trump has an aide, his lawyers, somebody by his side. I'm being told in real time the former president is by himself with his Secret Service detail, which is surprising given everything we've heard, David, within the last 24 hours, is that Donald Trump has been surrounded by people. He's back in his residence. You mentioned Trump Tower, a place that he lived for quite some time. I'm told last night that for many hours he was flanked by throngs of lawyers, lawyers that are working on this case, lawyers that have worked for him from some time at the Trump Organization, and lawyers that are also involved in the special counsel's investigation down in Washington. That is a two-pronged probe, as you well know, looking at January 6th and documents. I'm also told that a lot of phone calls from Trump last night and this morning, people described him to me, David, as quite calm. Our colleague, Catherine Falders, hearing he was upbeat as he was working the phone last night. I had another aide who told me that, as we've reported here on ABC, Donald Trump, post-White House, has become a frequent texter. And he was texting people last night saying, how do you think this is going to go today? What about the latest poll numbers? It seemed to be, David, as one aide put it to me, business as usual on a day that is anything but usual.
In addition to that reporting, John, Catherine Falders also indicating that the former president will plead not guilty himself.
That is our understanding, David. He will be in court surrounded by two lawyers, both familiar to the Trump team, if you will. Susan Necklace, who represented him and the company when they were facing the Manhattan DA last year in their probe looking at their failure to pay taxes for employees and other individuals. And another attorney who just formally joined Team Trump, Todd Blanche. He worked, of course, with Paul Manafort in their defense against special counsel Robert Mueller's probe, of course, when the president was in the White House.
John Santucci, who reported off air on the Trump campaign leading up to 2016 and then on the Trump years in the presidency. John, our thanks to you with us all afternoon here, along with Catherine Falders and our entire political team standing by. Also, our reporters from New York City to Washington to West Palm Beach, where the president will end this day, the former president. And he is set in Mar-a-Lago to brief reporters again at the end of this historic day, though even though they've worked on what he will say, likely that could be tweaked given the temperature of what plays out in this courtroom here this morning. This is a surreal scene we're watching, Jonathan Karl, a live picture of the motorcade carrying Donald Trump. And as John just reported, Santucci there a moment ago, the former president alone with his Secret Service agents on the way down. This is not typical for the former president, who's usually surrounded by a small team that truly supports him.
Yeah, an incredible moment. This is a guy who's been the subject of countless criminal investigations, civil lawsuits, on down the line, certainly his entire time in politics, but before that as well. But now he is going to be booked the same way a common criminal will be booked at the courthouse on 100 Center Street in Lower Manhattan, a place where drug dealers and petty criminals of all kinds are regularly processed. And this time it'll be a former president. Truly a moment in this saga. But you know, I think to John's point, Trump has seen some other things happen over the past few days. One thing, that there have been polls that have come out that show him widening his lead over Ron DeSantis. He's raised, his team claims, $8 million since the indictment was revealed on Thursday. So this is now not just a criminal defendant facing this case and other cases, but a presidential candidate who is going to make fighting these indictments the centerpiece of his presidential campaign.
And we're going to carefully take our viewers through all of this as we're on the air here this afternoon. And as we look at this live picture, Pierre Thomas, our Chief Justice correspondent, it also speaks to when you see that this is all that's on the highway right now. You never see this in New York City, particularly at this hour. Obviously, this is the motorcade, the Secret Service, and the New York City Police Department hard at work here today. And all of the officers, some 35,000, put on heightened alert given what's playing out.
Absolutely, David. They have been planning for this for days. The Secret Service was in meetings with New York City officials over the weekend. And one official with the Secret Service I spoke to said that, look, we're confident we can get the president to where he needs to be quickly. We have the General Assembly here where there are hundreds of foreign dignitaries. We can do this. They're taking no chances. That route, as you can see, has been blocked off. I'm told around the courthouse you won't be able to get anywhere near the courthouse, whatever. But the bottom line is they feel very confident that the crowds that you will see today will be largely peaceful, in part because of the message sent after